Hey, hallo und herzlich willkommen hier auf der Live-Bühne Rocket Beans auf der Gamescom!
Hey!
Woo! Herzlich willkommen zu diesem Panel hier mit Marah und Bert Beckman.
Yes.
He is one of the lead designers of Age-of-Empires-2 Definitive Edition. We've been waiting a long time, and it's getting closer and closer. Just 1 year ago, at this very stage, we played Age of Empires in our format, Rage of Empires, that has died in the meanwhile, but
Sadly.
Age of Empires keeps living on, and we're all looking forward to the Definitive Edition.
Yes.
And yeah, you're one of the head programmers, head designers.
Yeah,
You're
like
in charge.
more
leaders.
Project lead, I would say. Like,
king,
yes.
the king,
Okay.
the emperor.
Yeah.
So is there a lot of medieval talk in your team? Like, do you like horses? Is that a thing? Is it?
We like horses. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes,
Yeah.
we like horses. I'm not sure what to say to that.
All right. Okay. So I was wondering, there are a lot of remastered editions of RTS games coming up.
Yes.
Like we had Age of Empires 1 this year, Warcraft 3 Reforged, and now Age of Empires 2. Why are there so many remastered editions of RTS and so few new RTS games? What is about that?
I think a lot of publishers and developers are kind of trying to see, like, hey, is RTS still a thing?
Yeah,
Because
okay.
it's been a genre that has kind of been like going slowly for the past, I would say, 10 years easily. So people are kind of testing the waters again.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen, like, when HD came out, Age of Empires 2 HD was in 2013, like, millions of people jumped on that. So for Microsoft, that was also a big realization, like, wow, this is still a series that is beloved by so many people. And then, yeah, the whole rebooting of Age of Empires started, like all the definitive editions that are now in progress, and then of course after some time Age 4.
Yeah, I
will
mean
also
actually
come.
for Age of Empires 2 it's like the 3rd edition right now. There's the original game,
Yes.
then Age of Empires 2, then Age of Empires Definitive Edition, so it keeps going.
Yes.
It seems like it's the perfect game. You just have to paint it a little bit different and it's just great all the time.
Well, we kind of hope that this paint job lasts for another 20 years. That's really the goal that we're going for here.
What comes next? What's the next step? Like virtual reality, Age of Empires 2, like
Jesus.
first person?
You want to sit on a horse and like hack and slash?
I'm the only one who likes horses around
Yeah.
here. I don't know, it's weird. It's a medieval game.
But I think it's a great game because we all played it when we were little and we grew up with it. So you can do HD Definite Edition, HD definitely the last Definite Edition, and then
it's difficult to think about things you could do to make the game better because it seems so perfected over the years. So was it difficult for you to just look at the game and say, what can we even change, like except from the graphics?
Yeah, well, when we started working on this, we also asked, like, listening to the community, like, hey, what can we do here, right? And they always said, like, don't touch gameplay. Gameplay is sacred in Age of Empires 2, so don't touch that at all. And we didn't. The gameplay is still, I would say, 99% the same. But we did a lot of tweaks and polish and little quality of life features that people come to expect in the game nowadays. I think the best example is always the ability to zoom in and zoom out. It's in every game nowadays. It was never in Age of Empires. And now we see it on the boot as well. We have a little prompt that says, like, hey, you can zoom in and zoom out now. And once they do it, people are like, oh, finally. So, yeah.
So how close can you go?
Well, you can
like
see
really like look them in the eyes?
No, not that close. You can see the bricks in the buildings quite well. But other than that, no, you can't look them in the eyes. No facial features.
Okay, now we see the gameplay here. So it looks very new, refreshed, and clean.
Yes.
And how free were you with the changes you did to the game? Like, were you in touch with like the original developers? Like, did you ask for permission to change things, or were you on your own? So we have been working on Age of Empires 2 for, I would say, the last 6 years with the expansions. So we have some experience already with, like, hey, what is the community like, and what do they accept in terms of changes and new things. So we were in a pretty good position to make that judgment. We also have a few ex-ensemble studios working with FE actually, so that's also very helpful to see, like, hey, what was the original idea behind that. Okay.
But other than that, we have quite a bit of liberty, but we still listen to the community. I mean, those are the judges, not the old designers. It's more the community because they've been keeping the game alive for years.
And what's so fascinating about Age of Empires 2 that there's a whole pro scene growing right now. I mean, for such an old game, it's not that expected. So how close did you work together with those pro gamers, and are you planning to make Age of Empires 2 like a real esports game?
I think we'll just see how it grows and how it keeps growing. It has been growing organically since I would say 2008, roughly like that. That's when it kind of started, like slowly.
Yeah.
But like next week in Manchester, there's finals of a tournament, ECL, for Age of Empires 2. It's like a $60,000 prize pool, sponsored by Microsoft even. So it's going somewhere, you know. And I think last year there was an event with Age of Empires, because we're talking about the community and how we interact with them, right? And there was an event there, and there was a lot of pro players. And we were just sitting in a hotel bar at 3 a.m. talking balance about Age of Empires. So that was so nice.
Yeah. You did a lot of changes to the multiplayer system, right? Did you have a look at Woobly and you looked at what cool features you could have?
So actually, if you look at multiplayer for Age of Empires 2, we actually looked at Age of Empires 4. So there is some technology that is from Age of Empires 4 that is now used in the whole series when it comes to multiplayer. So it's no longer peer-to-peer networking, but you also actually have a server-based architecture to play together.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and you were talking about like talking with the pros. Like, how did you approach like the balance changes? I mean, it's a very delicate subject.
Yes.
Like, I was hoping for a little buff to the Conquistador, but I mean, maybe in the future. I mean, but how did that process go?
It's always looking a lot at streams, just looking at how players play the game. And after some time, you kind of just start to see patterns, like, hey, everybody's picking Huns. Maybe we should do a bit about the Huns. But what exactly breaks them, right? And then that's usually the tricky part.
Yeah.
Like, is it the unit itself? Is it your good economy that leads to that unit being strong? Like, there's a lot of little factors that come into play to make a certain thing overpowered or underpowered.
But did you make we got 4 new civilizations, right?
Yes.
Did you make them a bit OP so people pick them and play them first and then nerf them?
Yes, that we actually have been doing that since release, and Ensemble Studios also did that back in 2001 when the Conquerors released. They actually said it in all interviews, like, hey, these civilizations are stronger, and we know it. And it's also true, like, a lot of the guys, like, let's say you're going to play with the Lithuanians, one of the new civilizations, and you're playing against somebody who's been mastering the Huns for 20 years. You have no chance. So they need to be a bit stronger.
Yeah.
So you can play around, see kind of, hey, what can I do with these guys?
Yeah, I mean, you're making it kind of difficult for yourself balance-wise with adding so many new civilizations.
Yes.
I mean, look at StarCraft. You have like 3, Warcraft 4, and Age of Empires like 20. I don't know, like
35. Yeah.
35, like a lot. It's almost impossible to balance.
The good thing about it's good that you mentioned StarCraft. StarCraft is so asymmetrical in design. All the civilizations are completely different. But in Age of Empires 2, there's a lot of overlap. Like almost every civilization has a knight, and the villager behaves the same for every civilization. Okay, bonuses may apply, but other than that, it's pretty much it's rather generic in terms of tech tree. So that allows us a lot to kind of see like, hey, these are civs that are good at knights already. If we make a new civ that wants to be good at knights, what can we do there? What are the variables we can play with? So we had a lot of advantage from that.
Yeah.
That's why it works in H2 and
But
it would not work in H2.
Did you also look at units that are barely used, like, and make them a bit stronger, like missionaries or something?
Yes, I think they got another buff, just super tiny buffs. That's kind of how we do it, like tiny bits, tiny bit, and sometimes it's like all of a sudden everybody. Exactly. So yeah, but we do look at that. We also keep on looking on that, and Microsoft has made it very clear, like, once this game is released, we're just going to support it straight after release. Like, on release day, we start patching, basically. I'm not saying day 0 patch, but, like, we're going to keep on working on it. It doesn't stop.
I mean, I imagine it's pretty difficult to come up with new special units because the game already has so many units. Like, how do you approach that? Like, do you look into a history book and think, well, that's crazy, just we pick that?
Yes, actually we do. Actually, that's exactly what we do. All the inspiration from the games come from history. That's just what you look at. And for example, if you have a good example in the past, we had the Malay that were added, and they have these bare-chested warriors, the Karambit warriors. And if you just look up like the history behind those guys, it's like, okay, it's a bare-chested guy.
They can run very fast.
Exactly, no armor, so you have half of the design already just by looking at the guy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, and that's also what makes Age of Empires easy to read. Like you see a bare-chested guy and think like, okay, or you see a guy in full armor, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense as well.
I see. I was hoping actually for the Bavarians. I mean, like I was working on the civilization when we were doing Age of Empires. Was not included. I take that personally, but maybe for the next thing, like Bavarians have a chance, maybe.
I think 35. I think we might have enough.
All right, okay, perfect. And as I said, we still have a very active and huge Age of Empires 2 community at Record Beans TV, and they ask a lot of questions regarding the upcoming remaster. Do we have some questions?
Are there any changes to the map editor, like scenarios? Are there new triggers? Has that been touched?
Indeed, yeah. Everything has been touched basically. We had our fingers all over the game.
Good, yeah.
We did upgrade the scenario editor. We do have new triggers. We have completely changed the terrain system. I mean, this is really something for the fans that want to really dive into it. But you can they do. But you can make really nice things with terrain now. You can mix basically every terrain with every terrain and make really nice effects. So
there are also different like atmospheres and light atmospheres.
Yes, exactly. We have light settings as well. So I think we have like 5 filters, like jungle, desert, and a few others. So yeah, you can really theme your map.
It's very nice. I looked into the settings, and there are a lot of new settings. But you can also toggle them and play them like classic Age of Empires.
Oh yeah, indeed. We just added so many toggles. Also in the options screen, so if people are like, hey, I don't like this quality of life feature too much, like...
Who likes quality? I mean, come on.
Yeah, right. So they can just turn it off and just play like 1999 if they want to.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
sounds very nice. And you can also have like a multiplayer profile or something?
Yes, indeed. Like, so there's now one Age of Empires profile, and your Age of Empires profile, you can just go to age-of-empires.com and it's your profile for 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. So, did you also touch the ELO system? Is there something?
There are some changes made there, but in general it's still ELO. That's a good way. It works in Age of Empires. It's very focused on 1v1, but we did make some tweaks to it.
Okay.
So, but is there going to be like a ladder system? Like you just queue up and get a game instance?
Yes, we also have matchmaking. So if you just click on the multiplayer button, it's a big button on the screen, multiplayer, you go straight into matchmaking. You can also just go to the lobby browser. So that's what people know from HD as well. So it's all still there.
And then how does it work like with the map pool and like with the civilizations? Do you pick a map and then queue with a map, or is there like a certain map pool that is going to use for matchmaking?
We're still working on that actually, on the map pools to really define those. But currently it's indeed like there is a selection of very popular maps that are suitable for like fast-paced games. So Black Forest, for example, is not in the map pool, but something like Arabia, that's the standard map that's in there. And you pick your civilization, you have the map pool with standard maps, and you just you will be paired with somebody of your level.
Cool, sounds great.
That is very nice. I think have there been changes to the game mechanics, like pathfinding and stuff?
Yes, so pathfinding, we did improve it, but it's still the same system. So I don't know how technical I can get, but it's not a flow field path system, it's still A-star. So it's still the same system at heart. So I'll give the best practical example I can give. Like you have 2 pikemen, and there's a big fat elephant that wants to squeeze through. The elephant will not push them aside. So that's like, in flow field that would happen, but in A-star that we still have, that doesn't happen. So you still need to move your units around. But we did improve like individual unit AI. So if you do an attack move, it will be so much smarter. If you patrol into an army, you will be so much more effective than in the original game. And little tweaks to the existing system. That's really what we went for.
Yeah.
And what I also like is that this queuing system, that you can queue different units or things you want to develop or something.
We added so many queues to the game, actually.
You don't even have to play it, you just queue and leave.
We added variation to the farm queue. We have global queue, we have mixed queue, and we have command queue. So that's
finally
4 queues.
So mixed queue, I was wondering what mixed queue means. Does it mean like you can mix technologies and units?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
That's exactly that, yes.
And you can also tell the villager what to do, like with the south, and then do this and this and this.
Exactly. That's a command queue. So indeed, you tell your villagers to do 3 tasks, and it will do those 3 tasks.
That's so great. That was so annoying, to be honest.
Yes.
And like the pathing queues that you had to end with a right click.
Yes.
That was it never worked for me. I mean, I blame it on the game.
Okay.
It never worked for me.
Yeah, it was a weird design, but we now added both options. So if you're used to it, you can still do it.
If you like pain and frustration, you can still switch it on. Yeah,
something for everybody. Yeah.
Great.
But another very annoying thing would be the farms and seeding farms, and now it's automatic.
That's automatic. I mean,
That
Again,
is
it's an option.
So good.
But it's there.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I do when I start the game. I
Yeah.
just turn it on. So,
Yes.
Oh, like they buy the farms automatically.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay,
Like,
I see. So as long as you
Yeah.
have wood, they will just
Exactly.
That's great.
So you don't have
Good
to
job.
switch
Yes.
between economy and battle all the time. Like,
Great.
it just
Good job.
Thank
Bert.
you. Thank
well
you.
done.
Thank you. We
Really
know
like it.
we know what
Very nice.
annoys people. So
Yeah, I mean, I will still complain about balance issues, but I mean, you
It's
probably
normal.
get used to it. I mean,
yeah, but it's also the nature of the game, right? Like
Yeah.
it also keeps the game a bit alive. Like,
Yeah.
hey, let's change a few things up. But in the end, we strive that all civilizations have a win rate between like 45 and 55%. That's the goal. And right now, I think 60 or 70% of the civilizations we have are actually in that area. Actually more, I think up to 80. So we're actually quite close to what we really want.
oh yeah.
There's still a few civilizations that's really at the bottom.
Yeah,
few
that's
at the
okay.
top, but yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's okay. There has to be a challenge.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Right. No questions?
I think I can look in the chat here.
Like trade talk?
Something
Like a
chat.
lot of naval questions,
A
actually.
lot of naval questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why. I personally, I don't really like the water maps.
Okay.
It's just too confusing, too much multitasking
Okay,
for me.
okay.
But I mean, that's just an opinion.
Yeah, something for everybody. Yeah.
So, but will there be water maps in the queue, or is there a way to avoid them, or are
Oh, in the matchmaking queue,
Yeah, in the
we
matchmaking
actually made sure that there is no pure water maps. So
Okay,
there
I
might
see.
be like amphibian maps is what we call them.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
continental,
Frog
for
map,
example. Yeah, frog maps.
Yeah.
Exactly. Where there's a tiny bit of water, but it does.
Is it like capture the hill, or like monuments, or is it always like the standard variation where you just have
I think in matchmaking you either have the
Start,
option between random map and deathmatch.
Okay.
So the standard
Yeah.
ones, but yeah, in the lobby you can just pick whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So
Yep.
many variations.
We got a question here. How about cheat codes?
Cheat codes. Yeah.
What's going on there? Can you use them?
Can you leak some?
They're
Are
still.
there new ones?
They're all the same cheat codes.
Okay.
We also had a few in the expansions that are not that known, but they're still there, and they're all remade in 4K graphics as well. So if you have the how do you turn this on, the car,
Yeah,
now
yeah,
looks
yeah.
super shiny.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. I mean, like 80% of the time developing was put into this car. Like, no matter what, this
Yeah.
car has to look good.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope it will.
Basically.
I hope it will.
It does look good. Looks
Yeah,
nice and
and
shiny.
you were talking about the music, like you re-recorded the music.
Yes,
Everything?
all the whole soundtrack has had an orchestral remake.
Oh, yeah.
So nicely, I think a live recording as well. And yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
But it's a rearrangement of the original.
Okay.
So you still recognize all the themes, all the tunes. As soon as you open the main menu, it gets like
Alright.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Great.
What about the artificial intelligence? Are there?
Oh yeah, that changed a lot.
Yeah?
So the biggest thing that changed is that it's now very interactive.
Okay.
So you remember the original game came with like 5 commands, like food please, wood please, and like attack your enemy now,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And now I think we have a list of 80 commands.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So you can really say to your enemy like, hey, do a night rush or attack this player with champions.
Okay.
You
Just
can
tower rush him to death.
Yes, we're gonna nerf towers. But
Yeah.
okay.
Finally.
Yes.
Oh, no Koreans anymore.
Exactly. So that's definitely something we improved a lot on. You can also say like, hey, build a wall between these 2 points, or make your market here. So no more
Oh,
stupid
yeah,
trade
yeah.
routes.
So you don't need players anymore. You can just play alone.
Yeah,
With like
yeah.
AI.
You could.
It's
you
great.
Could. And AI is stupidly good.
Like we never have to meet any again. Wow, that's
great.
perfect.
I'm sorry I broke up this.
Yeah, no, it's
beautiful-
over. It's over. Forget it. Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's really good. Like I always, we have actually a new difficulty level in the game. It's extreme difficulty level. It lives up to its name. I always select it. I usually die. And I think I'm kind of good at the game, but yeah, it's just so good.
And does the AI cheat?
No.
No, they don't cheat?
No.
Never cheat.
No, not anymore. In the past, it used to cheat.
Yeah.
On the 99 version. But the script improved that much, and we could look at the competitive community like, hey, how do they play, and just
Okay.
put those tactics into the game. So yeah, if you actually look at the AI, you learn something from the AI.
Yeah.
Did you keep the standard game speed?
It's now a tiny bit faster.
Ah, okay.
Tiny
That's very
bit,
good.
yes.
That's very nice. Let's see, do we have something more here? What about custom keys? Hotkeys.
Hotkeys. Oh, we have a lot more hotkeys than in the past, actually. So now, actually, 2 new things. You can now have conflicting hotkeys. That
Great,
was not possible.
great,
Yes,
love
yes.
it, love it.
And also, it's your own responsibility, though. Like if you want to do super
okay.
crazy combinations, but you can experiment with it. And also, we have hotkeys for technologies. So if you really want to have that extra split second,
you just need a second keyboard for that.
Yes. Well, we try to make like a good default. So like the top row on your keyboard is the same as the top row of icons.
Like top row is just loom. Just one. Every button is loom.
Yes.
You need that.
Yes, indeed.
Do you have a hotkey to assign control groups?
Like control 1 or?
Yeah, like instead of control 1, you do like B1. Is that a thing?
Oh no, that's not a thing. I think that's not a thing.
I'm still looking for the one game that does that, where you can just like fix that manually, but it doesn't happen.
No.
But a lot of other things. I mean, there are a million things we could talk about, but the time is running out. Thank you very much, Bert. I think we're all looking forward to the game, and it looks great, and everything we heard sounds very great.
We can play it in November.
Yes, like November 14th it comes out. So yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. Wir machen jetzt weiter mit Simon und VR. Bis gleich. Macht's gut. Ciao.
Ciao.